we should be live. Hello everybody, how are y'all doing? Nice to see you here. Alien here, Mark here. Hello guys. How's the audio sound? I'm always going to ask that every single time we open up because the audio is always weird. But I did some things where everyone needs cake. I changed some things where it should have blocked out some of the background noise that's going on and kind of pick up on our voices a little bit better. On my end, it looks like it's looking pretty good, so I just hope you all can hear us fine. Biggest thing is there's a big delay today between what's showing on stream and what we're saying, because I was watching, like when I hit start stream and I was seeing it on YouTube, it was like a good 10-second delay, so it's quite delayed. Anyways, hello Surf and Kevin, welcome to the chat. Guys, today we got Chayse is playing Final Fantasy X. Oh my god, also I'm so happy to say hello first.
Remastered. I was waiting for you to say that. You see what's important. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. I feel so silly when everyone does introductions. I think they're funny. Honestly, I wanted to lean into the mic and be like, welcome back to my ASMR channel.
ASMR. Yeah, our mic's way down there. He's following. I love it. He's got the goddamn it, no, I can't think of his goddamn name.
Go, come on, references. Do you know? Do you gotta?
It's god damn it, no, I can't remember her name. But cool, look, check this out. So on my tablet, I did this deck board thing, which is kind of cool. So I can push main scene and it flips me back there. So I don't have to do it with the mouse anymore. I can just do it that way. How neat is that?
It looks like a soundboard, so I want you to press one of the buttons and go beow, beow, beow.
Yeah.
Just sirens and everyone starts dancing.
Still mega delay on my chat. I don't know what's going on with that. So, Nerth and Termson, welcome, welcome. I was gonna say welcome, guys, but it's one guy, Nathan, Nerth and Termson. But hello, Nickel. Hello. Did I say hello to everyone so far? I think so. Yeah, so I've been trying to mess around with OBS. I hate software.
I hate it, but you're so into it. You have spent probably so just like the way everything sets up in our house, you have the best connection. All your main computer stuff is in the bedroom, and you work off of there. And so it's you in the bedroom, and I'm not complaining at all, but for hours just studying. You're watching videos, you're researching, and you're bugging, and then you'll be like, come check this out, come check this out.
Okay, but the thing is, the damn borders on everything, any other normal streamer who's probably been doing this for a while could probably do it in a matter of 5 minutes, maybe less. It takes me half a damn day, from the moment I woke up to today to about an hour and a half before us streaming. I was trying to figure out the sizing of these borders along the Hump Day chat part and our main camera, and yeah, so it's taken me a lot just to do those damn borders.
But you'll research everything to the nth degree, which is really good because I am the opposite. I've started being better about it, but I am not the best researcher. And so usually in your habits and that, I applaud you because I would be I guess I just had to throw myself into it and ruin something in order to understand it.
Yeah, I almost ruined a few things with the frustration. All this for, it is for me because I do enjoy sometimes doing some of this stuff and figuring it out and understanding how people get into it.
Hi, yeah. Tony.
Tony's here. Hello. Let's see. Okay.
I checked the live.
Yeah, you actually looked at it this time. But the question: if the Final Fantasy, how can there be sequels?
I'm everyone's Final Fantasy, so.
Well, how can there be a Final Fantasy X? If there was a Final Fantasy, that was the final one, how can there be a sequel?
I don't know, I'm not them. I'm just an American kid who bought this Japanese game.
T.
That's all I know. Granted, it's a really cool backstory of why they're named Final Fantasy, for anyone knows. It's because they were going under, and so their final game, they called it Final Fantasy because it's literally the last of the money and bit that they had to, have hopes that they weren't going to go bankrupt.
What were they going to go under?
The table.
So today we were going to kind of do a unique discussion. Some of it was inspired by Team Skeptic and what he was talking about, I think during his Sunday or Monday night stream, where he's talking about mental health for some YouTubers out there who are doing things and trying to put out creative content. But I wanted to sidetrack from just the YouTubers and just talk about mental health in general. And then the other inspiration was from
that is the name.
Which Chase got me addicted to. It's Trixie Mattel and Katya. I don't know her last name.
It's a long Russian name. So don't worry.
But their show is and they were talking about death on there one time and their thoughts on that. So I thought we'd kind of change it up and be a little bit dark tonight and talk about mental health and death. And welcome, Sir Little Wolf. Hope you are doing well and everyone's giving you bacon. I hope people give Surf some bacon too, because Surf deserves bacon. I just saw still some bacon in there, so that's awesome.
He's not even asking anymore.
He's just taking it. He's like, you got plenty, I'm gonna take some. So I don't know where to start with it. We're not doctors, we're not therapists, so I just wanted a general discussion. I didn't want to go like where I'm like telling you how do you need to run your life or anything. But, our experience with our own mental health, maybe you guys share your own experience. I love it. Surf even stole a steak from Little Wolf.
You just can't take the things now unless he's giving it out. It's really giving it out.
Right.
Much like a character you created.
Yeah. So I don't know where we want to start with it. If you want to start off, if I should start off.
I'll start.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Chayse, and I'm kidding. That's a joke. That's a terrible joke. I was going in a dark place with that one. So I'll probably say something that I've been thinking a lot with and dealing a lot with, especially on and off, and of course, once more, bringing in the pandemic that we're still working through. I would say that I have gone through rapid cycles of missing drag to being okay not doing drag to missing drag to being in a fantasy in my head almost that keeps me kind of propelled and being I want to do this. And literally you've seen me pretty much every day for a week now, 2 weeks almost, where I feel I come home, I sit on the couch, I'm this close to my phone the whole time. I want tasks that I want to do because they make me feel good. I don't do them because I want to do everything. Right. And the only task that I can keep at hand right now that makes me feel like I've accomplished something and make me feel comfortable and safe is that I will work out. And I'm working out because I want to be a better performer. But I feel like I'm in a flux. I'm in a little bit of a struggle boat right now with a little bit of I would say a depressive mood, and trying to tackle that, trying to reinvigorate myself and reinvest while I have the time to reinvest without creating anxiety, which I have high anxiety, about the time limit that I have before whatever the normal is. Which is a while still, but in my head, because I'm making myself freak out, that time frame, we could say a year and a half.
Right, let me interrupt you real quick. Tony, go ahead and post those numbers.
Numbers?
To crisis resource centers.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And it's tasking because that's just showing a loop. That's a loop that I feel is very common for people, with pandemic, yes, but even outside of that is very common. And I would find myself getting caught in the chaos of it where it's almost paralyzing, and then the day is done, and then I feel so defeated sometimes by it, but I try just being okay, tomorrow's the next day. But so I've been in this weird loop talking about mental health and stuff like that, where I've been a little bit on the struggle boat with that.
Yeah. See, and I hate the term, but it's also the term a lot of people use, and I don't know which way it would go if you're an extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert. I'm one of those where I'm super shy, and it's really hard for me to just go up and start meeting people and talking to them. Or in groups, I get very shy. But as I get really, really comfortable, then I'm more extroverted and I'm more vocal on things, and I force myself, to be more extroverted. Go ahead.
Introvert, extrovert, because I'm extrovert, introvert.
Okay. And so I go through a lot of up and down phases where, there's the shy part of me where I'm reluctant to go into groups and start talking, but yet at the same time I want to be in the group and start talking. And so a lot of times, going to live streams and talking in the chat, if there's a lot of people there, I instantly start to like kind of revert back into myself, and I almost don't want to talk, or I'll say something and all of a sudden everyone will be like, hello, hi, and I get a little bit overwhelmed, and I try to say hello to everyone back. It's not that I'm trying to ignore any people or anything like that, and I'll get talking, and more people are adding to conversation, and then it's just where I get nervous and I start to kind of go back into myself, and then there's also times where if you guys don't see me for a while in a live chat, or I don't go to a live stream or something, it's because there's that moment where I'm starting to go into depression, like, well, I'm not actually there with people, I'm not actually hanging out with anyone, what's the point of this? Because you're going into a chat and you're, if there's 200 people, 300 people there, sometimes you almost feel like you're not being heard. And then you're like, well, if I was in a small group of friends, it would be better. And I know there's Discord and stuff like that, but it's still one of those things where like I get in my own head and my depression kicks in, especially with not working lately. Where I don't want to go in and socialize because I'm starting to get in my depressive state. And then if I do go and talk with people and then I finish up, it's almost like I get more depressed afterwards, because then it's like, well, it was cool that I talked with people, but I'm not there with them to see their facial expressions or to hear their voices or whatever it might be. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it'd be such a hard opposite for you, where you were literally, where your socializing was almost demonstrated and performative because of your workplace.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had people that you had certain comforts with that you could go and get that feedback that you actually needed.
Right.
To now being a year in where you're kind of working in screens and stuff like that. And I would say it's because you don't always have to put in that demonstrative socializing, being social then becomes an even heavier energetic task.
Yeah. Like when we're done with these live streams, like I'm exhausted.
Yeah, you're done.
I'm fried, and it's like I'm not doing anything, like I'm not putting out any more energy than I normally would. Like, yes, I'm trying to come up with conversations or topics to try to keep the stream going, but I'm not putting more into it than I would in everyday life. And so when we're done, I'm beat. And it's probably because, I haven't done anything like this in a while. Like my job, most people know I work for iFly. But how it usually works is when we're normal, if there isn't normal anymore, you'd have up to 12 people in a half-hour class, right? So you'd have 12 people that you got to gear up, you got to give them their helmets, their goggles, their suit. Then you take them into a classroom and you're standing in front of 12 people, and usually parents or whoever else, and you're telling them what they need to do inside the wind tunnel. And then you go in the wind tunnel. Not only that, but it's all glass, so you have everyone looking at you while you're doing things. And then you come out, and then you got to talk with everyone afterwards to explain, what they should work on next time if they come back. Try to sell them stuff, which that part I hate. I'm not a salesperson. I hate trying to sell things to people, but it's the only way to really boost my income. And so it's just always this ongoing energy. And so usually if I come home tired, it's from speaking to people all day long and not so much from what's in the wind tunnel. My body might be sore, but I'm more so tired from putting out the energy to talk to people. And not being at work, yes, obviously has really played into the depression because I haven't been socializing with anyone. But even when I was working, there was times where it still was that depression of like, am I doing good? Am I doing well enough? Are people satisfied with what they did? Did they give them a good time? It's all these, head things that keep playing over and over and over. And it's like, I don't know sometimes how to turn it off other than be like, they walked away with a smile and they felt accomplished. And so that's the only thing that I can do to try to boost myself up. But it's still that undergoing feeling.
Well, and it's really, I found, and this isn't 100%, I can't say this works for everyone. There's only one way I was able to really combat and tackle some of mine before I stopped drinking caffeine. Not saying that causes for everyone. For me personally, uppers like caffeination really actually caused me to spiral.
Right.
I would have even something like an Excedrin tension headache, which has a little caffeine in it, and then I'd go to sleep. The next morning, literally the world is crashing. I am 100% convinced everyone hates me and doesn't want me to exist anymore, and I would be in tears. But outside of it, it was like a constant ping pong battle, and it'd have to be me demonstratively being no, which takes energy. That's another source of energy. Even me working out at the end of the night, being that's my one promise to myself as an effort to get there. I feel great, but it's a battle. It's a huge battle. That's an everyday go to be able to find the pattern until you can find ways to not be as exhausting. But I think at this unique time point, it's hard not to, because even an aspect where socializing, reaching out and socializing is a stress as well. Because you just don't know. And for me, going to work was a huge fun thing for me, but that's dried up. I like my work, but that socializing has dried up because people behave differently. There's different types of things that you need to battle now, from people being entitled to being idiots to being Karens to being suddenly bringing up randomly anti-vaxxing and stuff like that out of nowhere because they are vomiting their stresses on you. Yeah. And it's this has lost its shine for me. And I don't mind going to stores still, just because I'm okay being rude back to people. Where if they were to cut me off, I'm also gonna be no, I'm just gonna stop my car here. I need to get this. You can move around me. Right. And that's exhausting for you.
Yeah, oh yeah. I hate grocery shopping. I hate it because I can't. I usually can't stand a lot of people and the selfishness that a lot of people display. I try to be very courteous when I do things. It's just how I was raised. You be polite. If someone's if I'm sitting there in my cart and someone's already moving or walking or something, I'm not going to just start cutting them off. I'm going to wait until they go by or something like that and then start moving. These people don't do that. They're stopped and you start going in front of them. Nope, they just go. And it's just it bothers me, and so it's very draining for me. But where I was going to jump back into is even before the whole pandemic thing. What my trap is I get up during the day and I start to think about what things I should get done, and I end up making a pile that's more and more and more. And then I'm oh, what do I want to start with? Oh my God, I got so much to do. Next thing you know, half the day is gone because I'm still sitting there oh, what should I start first? Blah, blah, blah. I got to get the dogs out. Got to do this, got to do that. And the next thing you know, the whole day's gone by and I've done nothing, right? And so then I'm depressed because I've done nothing. So then I wake up the next day already in this depressed state that I've done nothing. I did nothing yesterday. I got so much to do. And now I'm depressed from the day before. So I have no energy. So I don't start anything. And it becomes this ongoing cycle for me over and over and over where there's times I don't know how to end that cycle. And so I will force myself to, yes, actually do something. I think about my fish tank, right? My fish was completely dying. I've spent money on that. And so I have to take care of it. Usually, if I do the fish tank, then I'm motivated to start to do something else. Typically, not always. So it's this refresh cycle that just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And then the other thing that comes into play is then it's the retail therapy thing. It's, well, I feel bad, so let me get something to feel good. Or, ordering online, because then it feels like you get a little gift in the mail. At least that's my thought process with it sometimes. And then you get the thing and you're like, oh, cool. And you set it up and it took 5 minutes to do it or whatever else like that. And then you're done. So you had that high for a moment and then it goes away. And then you're like, oh, I want that high again or whatnot. And so then you end up spending, and the next thing you know, your money is gone or something. And And I fall into that trap sometimes. And lately I've been trying to really budget myself a lot better as far as, all right, I get paid this much. I can get 1 or 2 things this week that cost under a certain amount. So that way I know, like I've never put myself where I couldn't pay my necessities, My bills always get paid first and foremost, and I don't buy anything unless my bills can get paid. Or like buying my building my computer, when I was financing some of it, I made sure that whatever I was financing, I could make sure that that bill was paid and that I wouldn't end up, struggling. So there's that aspect where it's like I'm smart with it, but at the same time, there's things that I don't need to be getting. And so it just becomes this cycle over and over and over again. And you were going to say something?
Well, no, I was gonna say, it's like, you've actually been really good about that, where, like, I would notice that even though you're actively engaged with, like, we'll say, like, shopping apps and stuff like that, you weren't, like, being, like, one little trickle down, oh, I'm buying this, I'm buying this, I'm buying this. You've actually been really good about that, I think, lately, honestly.
I want to quick say hi to Chris Durham, and, he's gonna go eat. I did see you coming in. With Bard, hello. Alien X says I always fuck myself on money. It's like I said, it's hard because it's that retail therapy, and then that's the other thing that then adds into the mental health issue or the depression is like I said, is you spend the money, you have that high for a bit, and then you're like, shit, I shouldn't have spent that money. I should have done this, or I should have done that. This needs to happen. And so then you feel bad, and then, either you want to go buy something again, or you don't do the chores that you were supposed to do in the day. I know obviously the pandemic has affected me a lot, where I definitely had very low points where, I just wanted to do nothing all day long. I was angry and grumpy a lot. There's times I still get into that. Some of it is because I sit here and that there's people out there being idiots, but then the dogs are barking all day at every little noise because they're trying to protect me. So then I'm already in a foul mood from that, and then I didn't do anything, and so then I would just get very grumpy, angry, and depressed. And Chase would start to notice it hardcore, and then I'd have to kind of kick myself in the pants and apologize that I've been, a dick or whatnot, and it's not fun, and then that plays into the cycle of realizing that you've been, a moody bitch lately, and so then I'd get depressed from that and move on, and so the hardest time that hit for me was when September came around, because we were going out and doing a lot of kind of outdoor stuff. We were shooting off rockets pretty much every single week, and I was getting grumpy because toward the last part of launching rockets, like, for whatever reason, it seemed like I was either losing a rocket or I was losing an expensive part on the rocket. Like, the nose cone would go flying somewhere with the $100 altimeter, and it's like, I could find the rocket, but the nose cone is somewhere, or the altimeter. I have a parachute release device that releases the parachute at a certain altitude, so that way it doesn't go drifting super far. That's $120. I have no clue where that went. We just lost it. I swore it came home with us. I don't know where it went. It's gone. So I was getting frustrated and pissed. We were flying drones and getting a lot of footage, and I was creating videos for that. And so we were able to do all these things. We were going places to hike out in Red Wing and stuff, and then September hit and the weather kind of went garbage, and it wasn't really good for launching anymore. Plus the place where we were launching was a big field, and like the corn stalks were super high and the soybeans got really high. And so if the rockets drifted out into one of the fields, you had to send a drone up to try to find it pretty much.
And then you were hoping to get lucky still.
Right. So the corn and the soybeans were high. The days were getting shorter, so we weren't able to do it the time of day that we normally were doing it. And then the drone flying started to slow down because it got colder, and again, daylight started going away. And so I was basically back to doing nothing. And the depression really kicked in. And that's kind of when I fell into this debunked community. And it's really really has helped out a lot with talking to people. I think one of the very first people I talked to in the community was Tanner from Australia. I think he goes by the original Tanner trademark, which I haven't heard or seen from him in a while. I hope people have talked with him. I don't know where he's at. And then next was Little Wolf, and both of you guys really kind of got me involved a little bit more, and it's definitely kind of helped. I still go through my moments, like I said, where if I'm not in a live chat, or if I'm not speaking as much, or if I'm in the background, or if I'm not in Discord talking as much, it's just because I'm going through that moment of my introverted side where I'm like, I need my alone time for a bit. I don't know if there's more things you wanted to say or talk about.
Let's think about one thing. I don't know. I would notice that you got a different flight, a different like air, like a different like for a wind like underneath your wings once you found like the debunking community and you're able to have these conversations with people. I remember you'd always highlight how often I'd be like, oh, like you're really enjoying that video. And I'm like, yeah, but it's more about being in the live chat and being like around the people and being able to actually have conversations. It feels like, and see, that's because I find in certain things I'm the opposite of you in, where I have hard time having like I'm hard with texting sometimes because like unless it's like messages to get information, maybe having like a little laugh. It's harder for me to connect when it's virtual or if it's through like machine.
Yeah.
And it's for me can be more draining if like let's say I had like especially like in December is kind of like this because there's a lot of the virtual shows like if I had a text from you, if I had a text from a friend, and then I had a message on Messenger about like a drag show, and then I was in a group chat for a drag show, and they weren't even necessarily talking to me, that would immediately make me shut down. As like I can't do any of this. Someone can come talk. But if I talk in person, I am all ears, all gun ho. I usually enjoy private conversations, even though I also like group settings as well.
Yeah.
And so like for me, it's the virtual where it's like that to me that it becomes almost a chore. And it drains me.
It does, and that's why I need to step away sometimes from it because I can't type as fast as many people out there. I literally use 4 fingers to type on my keyboard. And so it's damn near impossible for me to keep up with people typing things like, oh my god, I was talking with Brainy Beaver the other night in Discord, and it was just a brrr, like he would have like 5 paragraphs typed out before I could even have like 2-3 sentences ready to go to respond back to him just because, well, one, I was using my phone, so it's slower to type that way, but also the fact that, like, I don't type well, so sometimes it does get overwhelming for me, too, and that's why, like I said, going into live chat sometimes where it's just going really quick and it's hard to keep up that it just becomes overwhelming that I have to just step away.
Yeah, for me, it takes, like, 2 messages, and I'm like, someone take this phone from me before I chuck it.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm just reading things. You can keep going.
And then for me, it's funny because it's like retail therapy. I do and don't like buying things. I don't stress about money until like I make a good investment, like a proper investment, and then immediately I go, "Can I take and use all of this money I have?" And I have plenty of money to still use.
Right.
I'm not. None of my other bills are threatened or anything like that, or me even going off and spending more. But suddenly I'm like. Is it okay? I have to literally like talk myself down from it, even if it's like I'm buying like a pair of jeans from the thrift store, and then I like looking at things. Like I could just like
you do like to window shop.
When I was this last weekend when I went to a thrift store, it was an antique shop. I literally spent about 3 to 4 hours in there because I was just looking at everything.
Yeah,
and I left with only like 4 items, 4 or 5. But I looked at everything, every corner of that store. I was a nose deep in because I just like stuff. I like things.
Yeah.
I know another thing for me, because a creative, this is a creatives, I like crafting. And we've talked about this. Nothing we can really do right now about it because it's just a lot. But unpacking Eve's closet and trying to do crafting for it that isn't wigs is a really big task for me. And having to do the back and forth of reorganizing, putting away, taking it back out, reorganizing again. Even if we didn't have all the things we had in there, because it's in a separate unit, in a storage unit for storage, because it's just a lot. I could fill a room. that's exhausting. And so that kind of puts a stint in me creatively
but
too.
See, that's where you even fall into like where I fall into as far as the depression part, because like you'll be like, oh, I should do this way, oh, I should craft on this, I should craft on that, and then you don't do it, and then the next day you're like, oh, I didn't get to any of that, and I feel lazy today, and yada yada yada. And it's like, so it's kind of the same thing of just falling into that, you know. And
it's easy.
And I can't imagine people who are living alone during this time who can't go to work. You know, like I'm on furlough, and imagine if I lived alone. Like, I know some people who are like that, where they're living alone, and, you know, at first you don't want to go visit friends or anything like that because you don't know what's going on. And then, like, our decision was that, you know, let's have 2 friends that we go hang out with where we know they're only hanging out with us and we're only hanging out with them. So that way there was no intermixing of other things. So that was our kind of way of trying to get around it. But it was...
Even
you know,
then,
I still can't imagine. Go ahead.
Even then, you just don't know still.
Yeah.
You just don't know. And, sorry, what you were going to say after that?
I was going to read some of what was going on. Alien, I didn't, like, I'm not leaving people out. There's a lot of people in here that have helped immensely with some of my...
He's talked about them all.
You're right. I've talked about pretty much everyone, but I'm talking about, like, way early on when I first kind of started truly getting into the community a bit more. But you've definitely been one who's helped out, and you know, I'm seeing, oh god, there it goes. Sorry. Stomach pains, I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Just got stabbed. I'm glad that, you know, you and I talking has helped out in a bit, you know, and I think that way with a lot of people. I've had a lot of like kind of private conversations with many people in this community, and it's just, I love that interaction and sharing, and that's where, again, I just want to tell people, like, if I stop talking to you for a bit, it has nothing to do with you. It's just that I personally am starting to go through my own mental health stuff where I'm like, I need to just step away, take a break, you know, push away the fog and the negative thoughts going in my head. The one thing, like Team Skeptic was saying with creators and stuff on YouTube, and I'm sure a couple of you who are creators out there know this, where you put out a video and you think your video is great, and you see like maybe 16 or 20 people like it. Now, granted, I am very, very thankful that, hey, at least 16 or 20 people liked my video, or 20 people watched it. You know, even if they don't like it, let's say 20 people watched it and only 2 people like it. I've had to try to switch my mindset of, that is 2 more or 20 more people who saw a video of my creation and 2 people who liked it that wouldn't have seen it had I not done it or had I not put it out. So I've been trying to switch my mindset, but there are times where, like, I'll put something out that I think is really good, and like my drone videos, my last drone video that I did, which was the Minnesota fall colors, I thought that was a amazing video. I put a lot of work into it, and it's got like shit for views. I thought by now, from the time I put it out to where it's at now, I thought it would have way more views than it does, and it just doesn't. Mm-hmm. And it sucks, you know, so that plays a little bit like, it's not good. But some of that does have to do with YouTube pushing it out or not, and people finding it. You know, I did put it on, I think I put it in my Facebook, you know, so it also depends on where I spread it around. But it didn't get very many views, and so that kind of like cut at me for a bit. But like I said, I had to change my mindset to thinking like, hey, it's something I created. I'm proud of what I created, and there's at least 20 other people that like what I created. Mm-hmm. You know, that's more than what would have been before. It's hard to break that mindset, you know, and then there's just other things that play into like my own personal mental health. You know, there's family stuff going on for me that plays a role, and you know, there's stuff of knowing that, you know, Chayse isn't doing things that he wants to be doing, and so then that affects me, you know, because I want to see him happy too, and then we, you know, living where we're at right now is still one of those where that plays a role into it.
And see, that's a big deal for things too. Is that what do you do when home's not a home?
Yeah.
When your home base, your cave, your the place where you essentially heal from the days, isn't doing that anymore. It's lost it. And I think for you that's been really hard because you've had to also stay here. The crazy things are happening. A roommate, I'll say it. I don't care. He can watch this YouTube. And then and the dogs just being a little bit more sensitive to all the other bodies that are here now. And also it sounds like people are sumo wrestling in our apartment building. And that really has to cut down because there's no recharge.
Yeah.
There's no relaxation.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to quick read. Antique shops are just really random museums, says Tony. Surf's only seen friends 2 times in the last year. Yeah, and it sucks. And it's gotten so long where there's a part of me where I want to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go see anyone and everyone who I want to go see. But at the same time, it's like, because of that happening is why we're still dealing with what we're dealing.
Right.
And well, it's frustrating.
Like my drag mom, she's been doing a similar thing where her and her partner, they'll do these cycles of 2-week quarantines if they choose to do let's say a bigger outing that isn't just them grocery shopping, or maybe they see a friend in passing.
Right.
That's not long time hangouts. And so it's hard because I want to see her, but then I have to figure out the routine that works for them and then works for myself. And then also we had our own demonstration of how quickly things can spiral, where at my job, my coworker, she lives in a dorm on campus at college. And so the girl that she was rooming with was having symptoms of illness, we'll just say in general. And so she needed to go get COVID testing. Well, due to the dorms, their rules, she immediately also had to go, my coworker, into quarantine as well, because her roommate was quarantined, because obviously she lives with her. And she has to wait on a result to see if this girl was going to be negative or positive, and then she would have to wait a 7-day cycle to then also get a screening to see if she would be negative or positive. If the other girl turned out negative, she could go back to life. Yeah. That affected her workspace. I immediately, because I work the most with her, had to start thinking, oh shit, if she's positive, then basically my boss either has to cut the hours or has to close for the days that I'm not there, because I cover a majority of hours there. And then I would have to quarantine until I found out if I was positive or negative, and then that's you, that's our roommate, and that kept me from doing anything. I freezed for a week. I was you can't really go out. I know I was I think we got groceries and that's literally it. And I was I cannot do anything until I know.
Yeah. And
that was stressful, and it was one of those things where her roommate had she had some health issues on the side, and she turned out negative, which thank goodness, but she was having some health issues, so it prolonged us from knowing any information because they had to push it back because they were screening her for other health problems. And so it just made this huge waiting game that created high anxiety, and it just demonstrated how quickly and easily even potentially being sick will shift your whole social life, your work life, your personal life, and your timeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just throws it into chaos, and you just don't know what to do. And one of our other coworkers, she's a little bit more nervous about and understandably why. But she immediately was if she comes back positive, I won't work here.
Yeah.
I won't work until I have a vaccine.
Right.
And it's one of those where you're I'm going to respect that because I get it, but then that makes it even harder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then WebBart was throwing out some advice about what I could do as far as my processes with creating videos and to make them a little bit more successful. My biggest problem is I don't have a set topic. I'm quite literally a jack of all trades type person where I build computers, rockets, deal with my fish tank, motorcycle, biking, all sorts of random stuff. And so recently it's just my videos are kind of like anything and everything, right? the videos that I found that have done the best are, well, one, my live streams do really well. So that's kind of interesting, right? And so it's like, I think the reason why the live streams do well is because none of my created content, nothing's scripted. I don't script anything out. I just go off of what I'm feeling and what I feel I need to say. And then maybe I'll edit a little bit here and there, or I'll reshoot it. But usually I don't script anything. That could be some of my issue, but a lot of it is because I think my topics are so all over the place. Some people might tune in for one video because they're interested in that, but then they don't tune in for the next video and it's a different group of people. And so I'm kind of like all over the place as like, teaching people about how the parachute deploys, how it gets pulled out and the safety things on it. I talked to one about drones a little bit. So yeah, the videos are kind of about me, but they're also teaching people about like certain things. As far as like the one video was my fish tank because people were interested on that, so I showed them my fish tank. My up in the air videos or episodes are typically teaching people something or explaining something. I don't know.
Like teaching.
I do, but
you are very natural at teaching.
I'm limited on certain things. But usually they're topics to just talk about. They're not necessarily about me, but maybe things I'm interested in where I can teach people about what a certain thing is, right? At least that's what I'm starting to gear my up in the air episodes. Then I've done 2 debunk videos for flat earthers. They're not really debunks as much as like point and laugh. Other than maybe like doing the altimeters with to debunk an air pressure gradient. And my one tomorrow, I think my one tomorrow will actually hit really good. It's not necessarily a debunk, but it's a flat Earth point and laugh, and I think that one will probably do really well.
It's
good.
And
and so that one might be a reoccurring type thing, like once every 2 weeks or once a month type deal. So that's probably going to do really well, and if it does really well, then yeah, I'll start to boost that out. But like I said, the live streams seem to go really well. A lot of times we talk about nothing, but then we tried to come in with the topic tonight about mental health stuff. And Alien goes, "Fuck scripting, yeah." Okay, so sorry, I'm trying to read. The vaccine, Nerth in terms and goes, the vaccine can't come soon enough, and I could complain about our government's bias and trash rollout of it. But I start back at uni in a week and half, and I have to be super careful. Yep. So thanks for the compliment, Alien, on the quality of the parachute video. Again, no script. It just went with the flow. I try to do my videos as if I was actually live in front of a group of people where I can't go back and re-edit what I'm saying to them, right? So if I'm going to explain how the parachute gets deployed on a rig, how would I do it if it was in front of a live group right then and there and not in front of a camera? The only time I really edited during it was when I had to change the camera positions. Let's see. I think Pearlfish says, I think I would have a similar issue. I would not really have a set topic as it would be all different kinds of things I like from many different subjects with no consistency. And there's times I think that's what my issue is. It's that there's no consistency. But like I said, I kind of want to be open for everyone. And also I like, if people come to my channel maybe for one thing, maybe they watch another video that gets them interested in something else, or maybe wants them to open their mind to another thing. When I had the Up in the Air episode with drones, all some people are like, "Oh my god, I want a drone. That looks cool." Where you might not have thought about it before, and now it's something like maybe you really do love photography or you love photo editing, and you never once thought about using a drone to send up in the air to get great views. Or maybe you're a real estate agent and you now realize a drone is a great addition to selling a property, which there's a lot of people who use drones in real estate. And so that's kind of the reason why I think I like to do a lot of different things, is to maybe spark interest in people on things that they would never know before or never try before. Let's see what else we got. It doesn't sound like you really care about that much about how many viewers and get more of the videos itself. How many one viewing learning something is greater than 100 that don't know what's going on. Exactly. For me, it's the videos that I put out. A lot of it is for me, right? You know, I want to put it out there. If people watch it, they watch it. If they like it, they like it. You know, you do obviously want to grow as a content creator, and you hope people like what you do. So it's one of those weird weights, you know, where
I feel very similar.
I want to be liked and I want a lot of people to follow me, but at the same time, it's like I don't do a particular topic, and so I don't care if I don't have the 500,000 followers or whatnot. If I have a video out that's going to be an interest to someone, then cool. But there are times where, like I said, my drone videos where it's like I felt like I put a lot of work into it. I thought they were really good. And then seeing the views on it, that was disappointing. When it comes to my created content of me just sitting down and speaking and teaching people something, that I'm kind of not so concerned about. Because like I said, it's not going to be for everyone. Now, if I do a debunk video, now that would be cool to see a lot of people go for it, just because point and laugh at the stupid out there, and know that a lot of people like that kind of stuff. Wow, I'm talking fast and a lot.
You're feeling it. That's all. Feeling it.
Whew, I'm warm. It was cold in here, and now I am roasting.
He's livid. He's fuming. He's fucking fuming. That's my best accent.
Sorry, I was gonna jump back to mental health stuff because we kind of got sidetracked on creating content.
This is a part of a mental health thing. It's an excerpt of it.
No, I know it is. It is. But I kind of wanted to see maybe what other people are dealing with. One thing I can say, I get in my own head so damn much, and that clearly is going to be a mental health thing. Like this past summer, our drop zone was open, and I didn't skydive at all. And that hit me hard. Seeing everyone else skydiving and me not out there, some of it is because I just wanted to be responsible and stay home and not possibly aid in the spread of COVID. That night I needed a piece on my rig that, it's not necessary to have that piece on the rig, but it's very beneficial, and I'd prefer to have it on there. And I didn't put money aside to put it in. So one, I was kind of depressed that I spent money other places rather than buying that device. Two, I wasn't jumping, and seeing everyone having fun jumping and not getting any skydives in. Like, skydiving is literally my meditation. Like, I used to have a Fitbit, now I'm using a smartwatch too. I don't know, some Samsung thing. And my heart rate is literally lower on the airplane ride up than it is just sitting on the couch here, because I'm relaxed, because I know in that moment I don't have anything to worry about other than my jump. I don't have to worry about the dogs. I don't have to worry about cleaning dishes. No, nothing. All that's going through my head is, what do I got to do on my jump? And then once you actually exit the airplane and you're in free fall, there's no words to describe like the beauty of it, the feeling of it, or anything else. It's just, if I'm doing a belly to earth skydive, it's a minute of no worries. If I'm jumping with other people and you're doing a formation, you're out there, you're seeing everyone smile, you're working to get your formations down, whether it be a big circle and then into a diamond and then into something else. And then you deploy your parachute, and then you have, up to 5 to 10 minutes under canopy that you just get to float above the earth and look at everything that's going on around. And so it's my meditation. And I didn't get to do any of that this past summer. And it was another hard hit to me. And then my own insecurity stepped in because I wasn't hearing from anyone on like, hey, where are you? Why aren't you out here jumping with us? It felt like I was forgotten. And I'm not saying that I was forgotten or anything else like that, but there was a point where I felt like I wasn't important enough for people to reach out to me to see why was I not out at the drop zone? Why wasn't I jumping or anything else like that? I think, word goes around through the grapevine, so I'm sure, word got spread around that I didn't have an AAD or that I just didn't want to possibly aid in the spread of COVID by going out and jumping, but that was a hard blow. And that's the thing that I take in a lot of times too, is like, if I don't get invited somewhere or there's a group of people that I seem to be around a lot and I don't hear from them or they don't reach out to me, then I feel like, okay, no one cares. Even though I know it's a two-way street, I can easily reach out to other people, but when you get into your own head and you have your own depression, you dwell more on that versus if you actually were to reach out to someone and they're like, oh, hey, what's going on? I haven't heard from you. And they're really excited to hear from you, where they do care, but you get into your own self-loathing. And that's where I got into, and it was just like, no one cares. No one's reaching out to see what's going on. I'm not jumping. I'm not doing this. And it was hard. It took in a lot. Did you have anything to say?
you
Dark Steven
like,
Raisin for no reason.
You amp up and then you slow down and you're like,
and I'm done. Well, it's like, because I don't know what else to say. So we got new people, and we got Mute Donkey, Dark Steven. I saw For No Reason showed up earlier, and For No Reason, just so you know, here's Chayse's hug that you gave earlier. So, I don't know how other people feel about things or how you guys deal with stuff or what you think on. And that's, going into last week's topic a little bit, part 1 of last week. Where we were talking
completely derailed,
right? Talking about body image issues,
and then bowling team scuffed it.
Yeah, and then bowling team scuffed it. And then that plays a part into depression, mental health stuff, because then if you're single, then you feel like no one wants you, and then you get into more of your own. It's because of the way I look, and it was hard for me. I know I took 4 years off of dating anyone before I met Chayse, and that was because like the last few relationships I had been in were just garbage. I mean, they should have never been relationships. And so I needed to basically refine myself. I needed to make myself happy and be happy with myself. I tell people, you live with yourself your entire life, you might as well learn to be happy, right? Love yourself first. And as soon as I got through like those things of understanding who I am, realizing that there's things I deserve from a partner, and there's things I want from a partner, and there's things that my partner deserves from me too, right? And if those things didn't come into play, then they weren't worthy for me. And so when I told myself that those things were important, and also, like I said, learn to truly love myself, even though I still have body image issues, I still love who I am. Then I was ready to start dating again, and then Chayse showed up. So yay. Yeah. For No Reason says thank you. I don't know why you don't see Dark Steve. Oh, well, you should, because maybe go to live chat and you should be able to see him. Because you guys should see it on like the screen. Oh, Chayse is back into playing Final Fantasy. There, we'll go back to that. You guys should be able to see each other. Let's see. Do we got anything else? Well, the community helps so much with mental health without knowing it. I had some really bad news before Alien stream last night. Would have been lost without the guys online there. Exactly. There's times I've gone into voice chat and just random goofing around or playing Cards Against Humanity or Quiplash or even just talking about anything, maybe to distract yourself or whatever it is, has helped a ton. And there's times also when I'm in a chat and I can be really quiet. And it's more so because I'm just listening and seeing what people have to say or picking up on, and just knowing that there's other people out there sometimes is kind of nice, So if I'm in a chat and I'm quiet, that's why. So that's awesome that they were able to help out with that. This community has really done a lot for me, and especially during this winter time, if I wouldn't have been flying drones, which I'm not, and not shooting off rockets or whatnot, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. I'd probably be ripping this place apart, like bouncing off the walls, like just angry mad all the time. Do you have anything you want to add in or say about any things maybe in the past of how you've dealt with stuff? Or
I know something it's like, it's kind of going back to like the whole thing. Like, I like working out and stuff like that, and part of it is, it's not necessarily like, lose weight, but it's more about like shaping myself. I like the idea of shaping my body better for drag and for function and life in general. And then I think about like the prolonged ominous future of having bad joints from performing. So I'm like, if I'm gonna have a bad hip, I need like a good knee, Yeah. Trying to balance it. And that's one of the things that really keeps me genuinely propelled in the day to try to do that and accomplish that. It was where I did gain some weight over like COVID, but then I've been losing some of it again and changing my body. But it's something where like that's probably the biggest thing that keeps me propelled about drag right now is that I'm like, I gotta change. I want to have the body I want for drag because there's certain ways and certain visual aesthetics and comforts that I need, and also flexibility and safety. And I like body study as well, so it kind of keeps me refreshed in that. And I would say that it's a similar way where I would say for you, like when it came to like doing your streams and doing like your videos, I know for you like having varying types of things to be able to focus on with it. And it's sometimes not even the task that's like the thing that's helping me mentally. It's actually what I'm doing within the task. So when I'm working out, I get to feel my body and how it's functioning, what is needed, what's hurting, and I get to study it. And then I also get to assist in something that actually propels me. And that it's finding like those little rabbit holes of tasks that are actually like that are actually fulfilling. And for something that might be dumb, like another one, it's like when I'm starting to do this thing that I used to do often, where it's like, if I'm going to sit here and do nothing, I'm going to do something that also makes me feel better. It's simple and dumb, but it helped me a little bit. It's like I was on my phone playing games and just zoning out on social media. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make myself a cup of tea because, it's not saying it fixes you, but it's nice for your body. And I like tea and it's healthy-ish. And so I made some. It's like, at least if I'm going to sit here and do nothing, I'm going to do something that's nice for myself. Or eat something while I'm there. Trying to find the balance if I'm going to be in a null void that I'm still like doing something nice for myself. At least for me, that mentally eases that I'm not saying, I don't have to accomplish something at every second, but I like to accomplish something.
Right.
And so a little bit is practicing not like self-care in the fun, fancy spa way, but genuine self-care. Nurturing yourself.
Yeah. Well, I know, so they were doing virtual shows for a while there during a lot of this. I think with things being slowly opening again, they're not really doing a virtual show. I know Little Wolf was asking about that, I think, last week. And so I think they stopped because some things are opening. But, when you would do a virtual show, afterwards, it was noticeable that you were you enjoyed doing the show and you loved doing it, but it was noticeable that you were depressed afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't live. It was one performance, and it wasn't in front of people and there was no interaction.
Well, and that's the thing. It's so much more than just the performance. It's the whole culture.
Right.
Be part of it.
You know, and so there was times where I had to try to say, like, you know, yeah, you're not performing right now, and it's not in front of an, not in front of an audience, but at least you got to get put in makeup. You got to make Eve come to life again, and you, even if it was virtual, you got to do one performance, which is better than nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it still sucks, like, seeing how your, you know, mental health afterwards sometimes took a hit just because, like, the reality of not being, you know, doing what you're used to of all the interaction that goes into it.
And it is finding, like, the task of, like, challenging yourself. I do find it hard because I'm such a physical performer.
Mm-hmm.
Where I like to move and do a lot, and that has limits. It has limits right now.
Yeah, it does. But I'm curious what everyone else does, you know, to help themselves when in a depressive state, or if you're feeling down, or how you try to combat, you know, any things that's going on.
Yeah,
you know, and
the secrets.
And these are just our things with our own mental health, and I like to express it out because, you know, there's times where on Facebook I told people, like, hey, I'm feeling depressed lately, and it's not to, like, I'm not doing it to seek attention. I do it because I'm like, hey, anyone else out there who is feeling depressed, vocalize it. You know, say, because sometimes you almost feel better just saying, hey, I'm depressed.
Yeah.
And it sucks. You know, and so if I said it, would be like, I'm just going through a round of depression. I have no clue why I'm going through a round of depression. You don't need to worry about me. Just know, guys, that this is what's up, and I feel for anyone else who is going through depression. But if you're holding it in, that only makes it worse. And I think, like, you know, to express it sometimes is good. I hold a lot of things in, but I try to vocalize it out sometimes, you know, when I'm going through. So yeah, I'm just curious as to what other people do or how they feel about things. New Donkey says, I joined this community when it's not COVID. I travel a lot. Yeah, you know, and that's what I'm a little bit nervous about, if I were to be honest, is once, let's say, we are back to quote unquote normal, or things are fully open again, it's going to be weird because I know I'm going to be absent a lot. I work 5 days a week. Usually my schedule is either noon until close, which is like 9 p.m., or 3 o'clock until close. And so sometimes I'm at work until 9:30, 10 o'clock p.m. my time. Sometimes I'm home a little bit earlier. And so most of my evening time is gone, and that's when a lot of, you know, people are on. Both UK, US, and then Australia starts to wake up toward the evening. And so I know I'm going to take a huge hit once work starts back up, where I won't be able to interact with you guys as much. And even the live streams, I'll try to keep them going. Typically I'm off like a Tuesday or Wednesday or Monday or Tuesday, so the live streams might change a little bit, and I'll try to keep them going. They might end up being later at night for me, depending on what my schedule gets to be, but I hope to still talk with everyone. I know it's going to really take a hit to my content too. Mm-hmm. You know, how frequently or how often I put out will probably change a little bit. I'll still try to have something once a week, but I can't say that it's for sure. I don't know why you guys are having issues, why you can't see one another. If you know, check your chat and make sure that it says live chat, not top chat. I'm sure you guys probably checked that already, but it's weird. I don't know why you guys wouldn't be seeing one another. I wouldn't be anything on my end. It's not that I'm aware of. But then the other topic we wanted to get into, which was a bit weird, that we saw on
I think it's normal.
Is death. Which is weird. It's, you know, it's a dark topic, but not a dark topic. And we were talking
Speaking of death.
You just died. Way to go.
Just died.
Just kidding. I want to quick see something. Sorry, I'm gonna And again, so you guys know, the reason why I look down all the time is because that's where I have my chat. So I look down at the floor because the monitor is literally on the floor as he plays on the TV. So if you see me looking down, that's why I'm looking down there. Alien X goes, "Oh, Chase, he will put out less." I'm trying to think of what part we were going to be talking about for that. Okay.
Hopefully he's putting out less content.
Boom, boom, boom. There. Try that, guys. So let's talk about death.
Let's talk about death.
Let's talk about death, baby. Let's talk about killing me.
What?
No. So it was interesting. Oh God, you hold a lot of heat, dog.
Hot dog.
Hot dog. It was one of those where, like, how do you feel about death?
Well, I'll start with the initial.
Yeah.
Scared of dying? No. Mad about dying? Yes. I like. This is like completely selfish and like my own thought forms, but I like thinking that I have things to do on this planet and that stuff like that. Whether like you believe in the afterlife or like it's a blank slate or you just die, whatever. That's not what I'm. But like I'm just saying more in the cartoony set. I'd be like, if I was dying, like right now currently, I'd be so mad because I'm like, no, I wouldn't be sad. I'd be angry. I'd be like, I got things to do. You know, if let's say there was a god or a spirit or whatever, I would be yelling at them. I'd be like, no, I want back in now, today. I have things to go do. I want to go grocery shopping. I want to go touch things. I want to go look at the world. I want to touch a plant. Like, I like simple things and like create. Like I have like larger goals in mind, but I'd be so upset. I'd be so pressed.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, how dare you? This isn't your body. Get at me. Fight me. I'll fight you. I'll fight anyone.
Sorry, I was laughing. They're making fun that I'm looking down at them because they're down below. So yes, I'm looking down at you guys. I get what you're saying. For me, I wouldn't. If I were dying, like say I came up with a terminal illness, I wouldn't be mad, but I'd be sad that I wouldn't get to experience more things like experience things with Chase or with the dogs or family or whatnot. But I'd be okay with it because it would be like, for me, it's one of those things where if it's my time, it's my time, you know, and that's where I have to go. And again, if you don't believe in something, then you're just dying. If you do believe in something, then it's kind of like, well, then that's just how it was supposed to play out. Chase is a lot younger than I am, and I don't want to say like, oh, I've experienced all of life, because man, there's definitely a lot of things I still need to experience. At a younger age, I probably would be mad. You know, like if I was 15, 16, 17 years old, I'd probably be pissed because I'd be like, God damn it, everyone tells me life gets like getting picked on in high school and stuff like that. I'd be like, I'm mad because I want to be able to find those good group of people to hang out with and to realize that life isn't so shitty and stuff like that. And so I'd be mad then, but I'd be more okay with it now.
See, I'd be like, I want to go to the mall. But I'd be upset about everything.
Mall.
I'd be upset about everything though. And I like, and this for some people is maybe not relatable. I like living on this planet.
Yeah.
I don't know about anyone else. I mean, the sense that I understand everything is so chaotic and negative, and there's a lot to be upset about, and there's a lot of work to be done, even just let's say in the United States and everything happening in its basic livings. But I like being here.
Yeah, sorry, I like Moot Donkey goes, I'm going to live forever or die trying.
I'm kidding.
But he does say, I feel you, Chase. I'm assuming he meant I'm too busy to die. I might have time for that later. We'll see.
Yeah. Because I want to do things.
And then Pearlfish says, scared of dying, no. Scared of leaving people behind, yes. Okay, so we're going to go to a really dark side of my past. And, you know, there were multiple times where, you know, I like had suicidal thoughts. You know, being bullied all the time, being called names, you know, walking down the street wearing clothes I'm wearing now and being called fag, you know, from a car or whatnot, and then and other things. But the one thing that always prevented me from following through with anything was that's so selfish to leave my family with the hurt of it. And I'm not trying to uh put down people who's experienced someone in their life who's had, you know, a suicide. I'm not saying that, you know, the person who did it was overly selfish and whatnot and didn't think of you guys. Like, I'm not trying to say it's a an insult to you guys. I know for me, what prevented me from doing it was I couldn't do that to my family. I couldn't leave this world knowing that I put them through such heartache by taking my own life. And that was honestly the thing that kept me from not following through with it. Mm-hmm. You know, so that was kind of a weird area to go, but I've never had like an issue with death. Like, here's where we kind of talked about it the other night, where I don't fear it. What I do fear, obviously, I think most people would have this, is how you go, right? You know, I was like, the ways I'd want to go is I'd either want to just slowly pass naturally, you know, like either on, you know, like as people always say, your deathbed or something like that, or, you know, pass in your sleep or whatnot. What, are you about to die again?
No, I'm just laughing because it's like, okay, I roll up to McDonald's. I would like to order a McDeath, and this is what I want on
yes,
it.
This is how I want to die. Or it'd have to be instantaneous, right? So, like, you know, I've been struck by lightning. I was like, if I were to be struck by lightning and die from it, I'm okay with that. One, what a fucking cool way to die. The other thing, two, you know, I would imagine it would be instantaneous, right?
Fucking go.
Right?
Holy crap.
You know, like, if I were to be in a car accident, obviously, I'd rather die instantaneously. Like, one of my skydiving friends was a helicopter pilot. And he was doing, when COVID first hit, he was doing, I don't know what, surveying, pipeline surveying. And so he was flying helicopter, and he hit power lines, and he crashed, and he passed away. And the first thing that went through my head was, please, just hope that he didn't suffer. That, one, that he didn't crash and then have, like, you know, a broken body that he had to feel the pain, and then the helicopter starting on fire, and then also have to feel that. Like, I hope that he either passed out, blacked out, or died right away and didn't have to suffer. And that's, you know, I think that's everyone's fear, is suffering. Like, I don't want to be in a car accident with, you know, bones sticking through my skin and have to feel that for 20 minutes and then die shortly after.
Yeah, I had this is milder than that, much milder. But like, when I was hit by a car, so I was like riding bike. It was the same year Michael Jackson died, and I was like bicycling, and like a lady, she wasn't looking the right way. She started turning. She just like hit me. I remember immediately looking down because everything's kind of just like picture choppy.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember looking down, and like the last thing I could remember before impact was like her bumper being like an inch from my leg while I was out in traffic. And my thought was like, are you kidding me? Like, and like that tone too. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is happening. I was like, are you serious right now? Mm-hmm. I was very annoyed. And all I could think in my head, like, then as I was getting up, I was like, if my leg's broken, I'm going to be so upset. Or, like, if I'm dying right now, this sucks. Like, it was very, like, I was annoyed. I was very annoyed. And so, like, I think about that, and I think, like, I worry, I worry in a very serious situation, my attitude would be very similar. Car accident, I'm split in half. And I'm like, are you for real right now? Like,
yeah.
Ugh. They didn't have my favorite shorts at my store, kind of annoyed. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a good or bad, but and you hope and no one suffers and stuff like that. And you hope for the best. But yeah, I think I would just be annoyed because once more, I'm too busy to die.
Mm-hmm.
Frustrated.
I just, there's times where I've seen and heard things and it's just like, oh my god, what a god-awful way to go.
Yeah, like that guy with like 120 hours, whatever.
Yeah, with his arm wedged in the rock.
James Franco movie. Where he's like literally has to like, I may die. And we were talking specifically about like, especially when it came to like crucifixion and stuff like that.
Mm.
Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got crucified!
You're sitting there for like days. You have pissed yourself. You have shit yourself. You're hungry. You're dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
When my throat was like closing up because I had a really bad case of strep, that sucked because I couldn't drink water. I could barely drink water, and so it sucked ass being dehydrated for 12 hours. I can't imagine being strung out for days.
Yeah.
And then like the sensation of like I'm very into it, but like with like your shoulders giving out on you and your muscles just I don't want to pee myself. I don't want to shit myself. And I don't want to be dehydrated and hungry.
Yeah.
This is also very mild, very shallow on the level of like thinking about suffering and dying.
Right. I'm gonna quick read some comments. Mute Donkey's got a good one. He's like, I want to die peacefully in my sleep like my grandfather, not screaming in terror like his passengers.
Oh my god.
That one's really good. Surf says volcano, best way to go, to which Dark Steve says, nope, you would hit the magma like cement, Surf, and it would be like a steak in a frying pan.
Also, the heat, the air, so hot. While you're falling, you're cooking.
Yeah.
You're cooking alive. That is not a sensation.
Your lungs are frying as like you're falling into it.
I think about that from like Coven.
Being burnt at the stake.
Yeah, American Horror Story, or the real people that had to actually go through it because we were awful creatures of the earth.
We were talking like old death torture things, like the blade saddle where it was like like a razor blade type thing, and they'd have you straddle on it with weights on your legs, so literally like was slowly splitting you up the middle of your body and stuff.
In the game Bayonetta, they had that. And like the torture of one of the angels that you're killing, you literally toss them onto a horse that has like spikes, and like she's like pulling them down. But also like now there's like a lighter form of that's used in like BDSM pornography and stuff. But not the same, obviously. Or like the one where you're forced to sit in a chair with spikes on it. Women that had like the breast tongs that were heated, and then they would tear into their breast tissue.
Yeah.
Or
hold on, I'll see you later, Web Bard.
Farewell.
I'm going to bed.
Good night.
Wait.
Or like what I was telling you about that like Vikings used to famously do is that they would like slice open your back and they'd break open your ribs and they would pull your lungs out.
Ugh.
Why not just, I don't know, cut a finger off? I don't.
Yeah.
You had to go extreme.
Like
no one's coming back from that.
Like there's some states where you can choose, like if you're on death row, you can choose how you'd want to go. Like whether it be gas chamber, electrocution, shooting squad, hanging, or lethal injection. Like there's like you choose how to die. For me, if I were ever put in that position, I'm like, just give me a lethal injection. Why would I want to be in front of a shooting squad and like be shot? Like,
I think for me, I would rather do the firing squad because I would have the affirmation as that.
See, and for me, like with the lethal injection, it's just like you're just going to sleep, like like surgery when you have anesthesia, which is weird. Like you've never had surgery.
Well, I was a baby.
Yeah. See, and I've had it. I've had 1, 2. I've been put under 4, 5 times, and it's weird.
Going under.
Obviously, because like you're sitting there and all of a sudden it's
that's weird. That's like the TV turning off.
Right, and what's interesting about the firing squad is I think what is it, five shooters and only one bullet is used and the other 4 are blanks, and as the shooters come in they just pick a random gun and they all fire and no one knows who actually had the round, so they don't know if they were the one who actually had the bullet in their gun.
Is that to relieve guilt?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And then same with lethal injection. I believe they bring someone in from the outside who's not a doctor.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
That does that because then it would be breaking the Hippocratic Oath, or what is that called? Or
yeah, I think it's that. But no, they bring in a separate person, entity, all of them.
Yeah. Couldn't even figure out his Yakuza's thing though, Chase.
I'm sorry.
Firing
Japanese
squad.
people can't do the same thing as Nordics.
Mute Donkey says firing squad is the best way to go for death row. Lethal injection is terrible. How do you know this, Mute? Explain
Mute
this.
Donkey and I have like a similar track
Yeah.
going on here.
Yeah.
So like there's just some signals.
Sorry, just kind of catching up on some things. So it's like going is like that. Have you guys ever had a dream? There's those urban myths of if you die in a dream, you die in real life. And I, for one, can say that is not true. Because I had a dream where someone was drowning me, and it was so real. I can't describe how real it was. Like, it was actually happening. Like, I was under the water, I was fighting, and in the dream I remember thinking, like, oh my god, this is the way I'm gonna go. And it got to a point where I'm like, I can't, like, it's pointless fighting. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So it got to a point where I was like, okay, I guess here we go. And in my dream then, I actively inhaled the water, and I could feel it go down my throat and in my lungs, and it had like that burning, tingling sensation in the dream. And like, I'm trying to take breaths, and instead it's just water and that burning feeling of like a choking type thing. And it was that things started to get like hazy black, like, like fuzzy, slowly black creeping. And what was really weird is I remember thinking, this isn't as bad as I thought. Like, the whole breathing in the water and dying, like, it's not as bad as I thought. Like, it's not as, like, I don't know if I was thinking like super, super painful or something, but it was like, this isn't as bad as I thought. And it was literally like that, like crackly sound of like just going into black, and I was dead. And I was dead for a couple seconds in the dream, and I wake up, and rather than like gasping for air, like as I choke myself,
go on.
Ooh, I did that too hard. Ooh, that's not as bad as I thought.
As you
right.
Like, notably sound different.
No, I know. Because I sucked in air too quick. Rather than gasping for air, I was breathing normally, and I was more confused on why I was breathing. Like, I just died. Why am I breathing? So rather than gasping for air, it was, and that was the dream, and it was very bizarre, and I died in the dream, and I think I had like 2 others like that, where it wasn't drowning, where I think one was where I think I did get shot. And another one, I think it was just on my deathbed, and I just died. Just died.
Just want to experience it.
But it was very bizarre. And has anyone else had a dream where they legit died in the dream and then woke up like wondering why the hell you're alive? For lethal injection, you are paralyzed but not put to sleep. And the mix of chemicals they pump into your body is awful, and you would feel like your insides are boiling. See, and I've heard other people say, like, like it's 3 shots. One is to relax you, and then the other one is basically like an anesthesia where you go under, and then the third one is where it slows everything down. That's what I heard. And then real quick here, Dark Steve says he's been shot in a dream, and when he woke up, I could still feel the burning in my back where I got shot. I've had something like that too. Yeah, where you feel like you still have it. I think there was one time where I felt like I was amputated, and I woke up, and it felt like I was still amputated, where I had to be like, it was my legs, because when I had to like move my leg around and stand on the floor to like believe that I actually had my leg. It was weird. Pearlfish says, my first experience of sleep paralysis was immediately after dying in a dream. That was terrifying for a few seconds before I came to properly. That's kind of how it was. Like, I was laying there and it was just like, what the hell? You feel all the pain until you die. If you die, lethal injection does not always work, and because they don't, medical professionals, they sometimes don't even get the needles in your veins.
Donkey came in with the facts today. He said I'm schooling the children.
Dark Steve is doing a what is that movie? But he says maybe that was reality and we are all in the afterlife.
Ooh. Someone's thinking that and they think it's real.
In the Matrix or something.
I know for me, like as a little kid, I had these dreams for years. Pretty much like since I could start probably remembering things around like 3. I just had constant dreams that I was like falling into a pit, or like I would be able to I would like go from my swing and I would soar that happened, and right before that I'd hit the ground, I'd wake up, and they were like I would wake up the next stage. It wasn't like those ones where you like fall asleep for a second, like falling.
Yeah,
these were like it was ongoing dreams, or it'd be a thing where like I would catch myself for a bit, but I was inevitably like ill-fated to fall.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember like one that still sticks with me because it's kind of like, ugh, that makes me feel a little weird. It's like it was me on a tricycle in my dream. It's like a little kid, and my dad works in a quarry. I mean, it's so many feet down, but in the dream, the quarry is huge. And I'm bicycling alongside out there in the middle of the prairie, and my the back wheel gets caught on the edge, and it's. But I'm watching myself from so far where you just literally watch myself tip over and die. And I was like, that's it. And I had these dreams for years.
So it was more like out of body watching yourself die.
Some of them were very much in person. I could feel the wind on my face as I was soaring through the air and falling, or not being able to catch myself and falling. And this was for years. I don't know what that says more in me as a 3 to 5 year old, but it was really odd.
I used to have a reoccurring dream all the time. My parents owned. Hold on.
You're good.
Hold on. You guys gotta see this. Can I move with Bailey still sitting there?
Oh, he's moving.
Oh,
he's moving.
Look, his butt is up here.
He stopped himself this time.
Yeah, he just plopped himself up. See, this is why I gotta get a camera that I can move. But the camera that I can control to move costs $200.
Yeah.
Most of those pan and tilt zoom cameras cost that much.
Go get them. Here, hold on a second.
As a kid, I always had this recurring dream. My parents owned a racquetball court, and most racquetball courts, you got the level where you can get into the court, and then you go upstairs, and you could view the games being played from upstairs and whatnot. He's playing with the food dish because he's hungry. But the stairs that they had in their racquetball club were kind of steep, and for whatever reason, they were painted steps, which to me is just dumb. Well, because they're slippery. You get a little bit of water on those, and they're slippery. But so you'd go up the stairs, and if you went kind of right, you had view of all the racquetball courts. If you took a hard right, basically to go, the stairs were in the middle. To go to the hard right was the aerobics room. Took a hard left, basically a U-turn left, was kind of like a storage area. And then slightly off to the left was a big workout room with weights and all that. Well, when we were young, we used to take naps in the storage area and stuff like that. It was kind of a cool little room. But I would take a nap in there, and I would have a dream that I would wake up from my nap, leave that room, and start to go down the stairs. But as I would go down the stairs, I'd start tripping. And, there was like a little overhang type thing that, like, if you were to jump well enough, you'd knock your head and whatnot. And it was this dream where I'd start falling down them, and then as I'm falling, I'd hit my head on that and start flipping backwards to where I'd land on my back on the stairs, but I'd always wake up before I'd land, on the bottom.
That's awful.
And that was my dream. And it was reoccurring all the time, so it's like I never knew if I, was going to die from it or not, and I don't get what the point of that dream was. And then the other one I always had was, like, being able to kind of jump up and fly around, and I was usually in control of it, but for whatever reason, sometimes, like, I would attempt to do the jump up and do my floating around that I could do, but then all of a sudden I wouldn't be able to hold it anymore, and I'd just drop down to the ground. Alright, I will catch up on what some people were saying.
Well, you donkey, it does not make you special that you don't die in your dreams.
Yeah,
let's just don't die.
I'm
just kidding. Kind of.
So, let's see, Pearlfish says, yeah, it could be the afterlife. Has anyone seen the movie Wrist Cutters? It's a slightly lighthearted look at a morbid subject. Basically, it's about people who suicide, but when they get to the afterlife, it's the same as the real world, only a little bit worse. We were talking about
that name.
Wrist Cutters.
Jesus
We were talking about a movie. So
Lighthearted.
it would have to be the 1991 version, Flatliners, which I need Chayse to watch. It was has like Kevin Bacon and Julia Roberts, and who else did I say was on there? Kiefer Sutherland. I know they made a remake of it, but I heard the remake is terrible, but the 1991 one is weird, and it's these doctors who try to see how long you can be flatlined and still come back to life. But each time they flatline themselves, they go through this experience of almost like an afterlife where they see like these terrible things that they've done in their past, and now they have to, as doctors, they're trying to kind of make up for that terrible thing, so that way if they do pass, they don't have that afterlife of what they've experienced while they're flatlined. It's an interesting movie. Donkey, I love falling in my dreams. I feel weightless. Well, then why don't you just go skydive? Oh, I mean, really, just go do it. Let's see. There's a Russian guy with a black hole under his passenger seat of the car. Anytime you drop something, it's gone forever. And then Dark Steve saying it's good for his movie.
That's a butthole.
Dark Steve says I can take control of some of my dreams. The trick I use is try to put your finger through your own hand, then take control.
I remember one time I was really annoyed in my dream that I was able to start controlling and navigating, because like in the dream it was kind of predictive. Like the settings were kind of weird and gloomy, but there was kind of predictive, and I just kind of got annoyed, and I was like, I'm over this. I need to get out of here, and I like laughed, and then I woke up.
And Mute's agreeing that the original movie is better. I've never seen the remake, so I don't know. It's kind of like the movie Stepford Wives. Watch the original. The original is creepy. Yeah, the ending is very creepy and dark. The remake is like, oh yay, loving, it all worked out at the end.
Live, laugh,
type
love.
deal. Yeah, and we showed them. But the original it's very dark, the ending, and it's just like, oh, damn. It's fucked up. So, remakes sometimes, like, it can be good, but it's like, I think the original usually almost always does better than the remake.
You're telling me. Living in the culture of remakes.
And Mute, if you're afraid of hitting the ground with skydiving, make sure to wear a parachute system.
Or strap a whole man on your back that has a parachute. That's what I did. Left me freehand.
I don't think he wants to strap himself to a man behind him, though.
Maybe it's a woman.
The benefit.
Don't be sexist.
I'm gonna try to interview Sam.
Sam Malone?
Yeah, no, not Sam Malone.
I know.
Sam is a coworker of mine at iFly, really good friend, and she is a tandem instructor as well. And so I want to try to get her interviewed soon to talk about, like, Because I went over the safety stuff of the rig, but I want to talk about the safety that goes into a skydive that isn't, the physical rig. It's more so of like the steps you take for yourself to prepare for everything as well. Bailey, it is not time to eat. So, I want to get her and then have her talk about her experience as a tandem instructor. Plus, she's had a really bad skydiving incident. And it wasn't a matter of her gear failing or anything else like that. It was another person collided into her. And that would show the importance of why you do certain things like dirt diving or planning out a skydive rather than just going into it willy-nilly, and doing jumps with people who have the skills to do what you're trying to do on a skydive. If you're trying to learn a new skill set, usually you don't jump with one person until you get that skill set down before you start doing groups, or that's how it should go. So then that way, if something goes wrong, you don't have a bunch of people there that are at risk. So I would like to get her interviewed so we can do that coming up soon. A little bit about that. And then I think Mute's agreeing again about I'm assuming about the Stepford Wives thing. Many modern movies, they have to comfort us with nice happy ending. Yeah, exactly.
That's why I like the movie Mother. It's so good because I like the overlooming like metaphor and using like Christian outlets to be able to express like the damnation of it.
Right.
And then it gets really grotesque, but to me it makes quite a solid point without comforting you, because you kind of more look at it and at the end of it you're like, this is really depressing because this is like this will be a countless cycle, and also like just kind of exposes people for how into themselves they are.
Right.
Death awaits you. On topic.
And you're right. Skydiving, it is expensive. The doing a tandem jump does get really expensive, and iFly is a great way to get at least the feel of what it's like, or the simulation of what it's like, for much cheaper. iFly is still kind of expensive. A lot of people will be like, $80 for only 2 minutes, and we usually have to explain to them like, well, if you were to do a skydive, you're paying $230 for 1 minute of free fall. Granted, yes, you get the airplane ride experience and all that, and the height experience, but with the wind tunnel, for what you're paying, you're getting 2 minutes of flight time, which is essentially 2 skydives that you'd probably be paying $500 for to do 2. And then the other thing too is you can actually start to learn in the wind tunnel. If you do what the instructor tells you right away from the beginning and you're stable, we can start teaching you turns right away and stuff like that. And in skydiving, it's going to take a little bit more time. So
also, being in the wind tunnel, the physical labor of even just being in there for like a grand total of 5 minutes, let's say, is very intense on your body. Especially if you're like first time.
Yeah.
And like second timing.
Right.
So it's like, it sounds small, but honestly, like, you feel it.
Yeah, you do. I usually tell people though, if you're not relaxing yourself, and if you are very rigid, which a lot of people do, you don't know what to do or what to expect, you come out feeling very sore. The longest I've flown straight in the wind tunnel, I think was it 27 minutes straight, where I did not get out. I was just flying for 27 minutes. I got out and I didn't realize I flew for that long, and I was like, oh my god, 27 minutes, wow. And I think it was a few hours later I was like, whoa, yep, hi, I'm feeling that I flew for 27 minutes inside the wind, because, holding that body position, or if you're backline, or depending on what you're doing, it's insane.
Well, and this made me segue, because in my head I was like, started thinking, like, what a gnarly way it would go if something awful happened in the wind tunnel and that's how you die.
Yeah.
But then, that made me think about, movies like Final Destination and stuff like that, where it's like, I feel like people like watching them because they like to go, I want to know what it's like to die without experiencing it. So you watch, stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
Where you get to see the gnarly death and stuff like that, and so you kind of go, that's horrifying. Okay, yeah. Great.
Hello, Shane. Welcome to the party. We were talking about death. And feelings towards it, and
Not very great
You
feelings.
know, if you're okay with it or not okay with it, or afraid of it, not afraid of it, how you would want to go or not want to go.
Not like this.
Oh, you died again?
You're
doing bad this time. You're terrible. This is garbage. You're letting people watch you die like this?
Yep.
I'm just kidding. I blame the fact that we're chatting too much and you're not.
No, literally, like this like doing this boss is like half chance, half luck, and like half like strategy. So you just
strategery.
You live with it.
Strategery.
You just live with it. Also, the capitalistic field of death in America is very upsetting to me.
Capitalistic field of death?
Yeah, because dying is expensive.
Oh God, yeah.
And then when you're dead, expensive. How dare? It's so annoying to me. That annoys me so much. It's like, it's very frustrating to me. Because there's no peace behind it.
Mm.
Oh, your grandma wants peace? Not until I get $5,000. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What on earth? Like, why? Why trouble someone? I know there's things that go with, like, trades and goods and blah, 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 blah. I don't really care about that right now. I'm saying blatantly, it's very, like, non-cost effective to die. And so it's saddening, but stressful. And it's like...
That's why just cremate me. It's cheap. I mean, cheap in comparison, right? A lot cheaper in comparison to, like, being buried, because not only do you have to find the casket, but then they also have to put it in, like, a cement tomb or some sort of thing, so then that way it doesn't, you know, things don't leach into the ground as things decompose and whatnot.
Right.
And it's insane.
I'm gonna try a different game, by the way.
Yeah, because Mute says that you die a lot.
Shut up, Mute. You don't die a lot, and I think that's a problem.
Steve goes, I'm sitting at a hospital. Want me to interview some people here? Why are you at a hospital?
Oh my God.
Shane says, as a hunter, death is my favorite topic. For yourself or for what you're hunting?
Yeah. Who are you hunting? What are you hunting? People? Animals? Tires? Cars?
Which then also goes on to, what do people think about euthanasia for humans? You know, what if you had a terminal illness and, you know, they said, like, you have 6 months and you probably knew maybe, like, the last 3 are going to be terrible. Do you think it's okay to be like, just euthanize me?
I think so.
You know, and I think, you know, we do that for our pets. Our pets get really sick, you know, and sometimes, you know, it's a matter of, like, well, how much money do you want to drop into your pet, knowing that it's probably still going to have a struggled life or something like that. You know, but if our pets are going to, if they have a terminal illness, what do? We say, well, let's put them to sleep. And why can't we do that with humans?
I know for some things, people immediately, I know, would cover or say the statements of people's mentalities and mental state and emotional state when they're in those occurrences, and, like, if they're going to be proper judgment. Mm. But the thing that also in the opposition of that is, I worry, and as an example, and my grandpa wasn't in a great mental state to probably make that type of decision. But I would say, and there was so much trying to keep him live and preserved as he was fading. He had a really bad terminal cancer. It was inevitable. There wasn't like a reach of hope, but he was in his late 80s. Right. And he was given medication for dementia. It ended up not being the proper medication, so it actually made his dementia worse. Mm-hmm. And so his mind was really going, and there was a point where he was kind of more in a vegetative state. Not saying that's anyone else's choice of what happens with his body afterwards, but it's one of those where it's like there was such a desire to preserve him and keep him here that concerns me with how much we chase after life, even if that means anything else can be sacrificed. Like, even if, like, we could preserve your head, and you would be alive, like in Futurama, they would say that's okay because you're living still. And it's like, but what? Why? why do we have to chase life so much, even if it meant that you could only exist this big?
Right.
What if you're unhappy that way? What if the people who put you in that state, you're unhappy with what overall? And I'm not saying like that's overall for certain types of amputees or people in vegetative states, because there's plenty of people who are still very capable. They're very capable, strong people. But I'm just saying in general, when you come to the end of your life, end of cycle, why cling so tightly, and why force that person to be like make them cling to the ground too? That seems really selfish.
Well, and some of the people are saying, like it's like Pearlfish says, I think euthanasia should be legal, but it should come with loads of red tape to stop being abused. And Mute Donkey says, I'm fine with it under the right circumstances. And that's the thing is, like, if it's someone who's just saying, I don't like life and I want out, that to me, that's not, obviously it's not good enough in my mind, because things do change around. Like I said, there was a lot of things where I felt, I was ready to leave this world, and I'm glad, obviously I didn't make that decision to do so.
Well, and that they need a different type of assistance.
Right.
That's saying that like one person is meant to do 12 tasks. Well, let's get 12 different people to do each one of those different tasks.
Right. But like we were saying though, if it's where you're diagnosed with a terminal illness and you only have X amount of time to live, I think that a person should have the right to say, I don't want to suffer through this illness. I'm going to pass from it anyways. Let me pass on my time and not have to, let me come to terms with it myself and let me pass on my time. Let my family make preparations rather than saying, I have 6 months to live. I could die sooner. I could live a little bit longer and have my family watch me suffer through this and go through that pain, and me have to suffer through it and go through the pain. Let's do it with where I can say it and we can, I don't want to say predict it, but predict it.
Why not?
The one
why
thing
not
is,
predict it?
like, my dad, when he was passing of cancer, originally they gave him 6 months. He ended up living 2.5 years longer than that. I can say, and I'm thankful for that. But if my dad was given, hey, you're going to have 6 months to live, and that's probably what your timeline is going to be. And he was like, all right, I would prefer then to, euthanize or go on my time. Mm-hmm. As soon as I start to feel a lot of pain from this, that's when I want to go. I would have been okay with that. Mm-hmm. I would, because it's like, and I don't want to be like, well, dad's going to die anyways. That's not what I'm getting at. It's more so like, we can all then be prepared, and it's like you're never going to be prepared for someone when someone dies, even if they're like, I'm going to die on the 15th at 3 p.m. You're not going to be prepared for it, but at least that you, like, mentally you're ready, and you can do and say what you need to do for that person's passing.
It's coming, and that it wouldn't be something that is awful to watch, kind of like, I'm not saying it's ever great to watch someone die. I'm just saying, like the state of seeing someone passing from cancer is not a very pretty sight, because it's a person like really at the edge of their health. Someone at the edge of their health is very hard to see and hard to watch. I've seen that from like my ex old roommate's grandma when I was there for her and her passing. It's very hard. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's one of those where it's like, do you want to see them at like the inch of their life and them see themselves at the inch of their life, or would you prefer for them to have like a comfort of this sort?
Right. Nathan Termson, I used to have my mind made up on euthanasia, but recently I had a great uncle pass away after being in and out of comas and pain for like 3 months. And now it would have been nice to know him better, but he was in a lot of pain. And I think you're trying to agree with that. I'm not sure. But that's sorry, barely keeps hacking. But that's the thing is, like, if you're going in and out in a lot of pain, you should have the right to be like for me, I like, what's funny with this country in the US is I want to have a DNR, do not resuscitate, because my personal belief is when it's my time, it's my time.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna go. So if I'm in a bad car accident or whatever it is, I have a heart attack and say I'm, you know, I passed, I don't want to be resuscitated. It's just like, don't ask me why. It's just my thing. It's like, if it's my time to go. Plus, I don't know what kind of damage would be done afterwards. Like, say they resuscitate me and I have a bunch of brain damage, and now Chayse has to take care of me for the rest of my life by wiping my ass and cleaning up puke or whatever the hell it might be. Like, to me, I don't know. And to get a DNR here, you have to, like, get doctor approval. Then you have to state why. I think you have to go to, like, a therapist or something, and you have to have it, like, you have to have it, what is it? You have to go to where someone, what you had to do to get your birth certificate thing?
You have to get it notarized.
Notarized. And it's just like, what the hell? I should be able to dictate what I want for my body. If I don't want you to resuscitate me, I should have every right to have that on there without all that other stuff. It's not saying I'm suicidal or anything. It's just saying, like, it's just my time.
Right.
You know, and it's really weird. Oh, and he's at the hospital his wife needs to go to the dentist, so the dentist is at the hospital. So then Surf said that he hopes that the dentist is okay because the dentist is at the hospital.
Can you imagine being like, hey, I know you had that thing happen to you, but can you get this? I need a crown.
Pull this tooth real quick.
I need a crown.
Right.
They got tools right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put a little numbing cream, a little Aura gel on there. Just pull the tooth.
Yeah. Let's see. Israeli, some ambulance officers will take the elderly to the beach or park or wherever before they die for one last outing. Wow.
Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot with people who are passing COVID.
That's kind of cool. Right? Take them out and let them just be at the beach and listen to the ocean and slowly pass away. I think it's less about amount of time left and more about the quality of remaining time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And that's why it's like, you know, if you know, as far as the euthanasia thing, if I know that my time was scheduled for whatever such and such date, I can make the best out of that time that I possibly can. Whereas, like I said, with, you know, like, say the 6 months or something like that, again, you don't know what's going to go, what's not going to go. If you, I don't know. Maybe that's weird.
I don't think so. I think it's like, I think when you're faced with, like, just thinking of death and stuff like that, and especially with people passing, like, I don't think it's doom and gloom to think about it, because death is part of our life. And once more, like, kind of going back to it, I feel like in the United States, we're very obsessed with staying alive instead of, like, being okay with death. Like, I don't know, why be afraid of it? I'm not saying that you have to full-heartedly hug it and, like, love it, but it's like, it's kind of like the idea of people who they put off being mad and sad because they don't want to feel the way. It's like, it's part of you, though. It's part of an emotional state. You should be able to experience it and be free to experience it.
Mm-hmm. So, Pearlfish, my condolences to you. So, my granddad passed away yesterday morning from cancer. Watching him lose his independence, taken away from him over the past year, was completely different to the last couple of years I've experienced. With my wife, as she was suffering from cancer, she did well, but I think my granddad would have benefited from choosing to go early. And that's, you know, watching my dad the last 2 weeks of his life go from being coherent in a hospital room and talking to us and having conversation to having to wear adult diapers and my sister needing to change him where he still kind of had a conversation, to where he needed assistance walking to the living room and not being able to talk anymore, to turning into a person who is just laying on a bed that was awake, that could only essentially grunt and had to be baby fed and still have his diapers changed, to turning yellow and just laying there on the bed. Like, if he when they told him that the cancer spread to his bones, if he would have said, just euthanize me now, honestly, I would have preferred that.
Mm-hmm.
I would have preferred that versus watching. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. No.
Versus watching him go through what he went through, because my dad was a runner. He ran all the time. He was a talkative guy. And then having to be helped sucked. And so I would rather have him pass on his time and have the memory of that versus the memory of him not doing the basic stuff that he did all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, guys. It just, reading that just made me think of that. It's like, it sucks. And it's, but, and this is where I'm gonna, in March is when he passed. So I'm gonna have a video coming out, a created video where I'm gonna discuss the day of his passing. And the day of his passing for me was, it was hard, obviously, but a lot of things happened in that day that, I told people I'm a spiritual being, and for me, his day of passing is what made me kind of have faith in something, that, there's something out there, or something more than what we know. And people may agree with that or disagree with that. I don't care what your views are as far as afterlife or not afterlife. But for me, it just kind of reaffirmed things. It was too weird. And I don't try to push my ideas, but I'm going to have a video that explains that day and just kind of share, like, seeing him in the state that he was in sucks, but the last day that he was alive is actually kind of like a very positive experience for me. Mm-hmm. And it was good. So sorry about my random little moment there. And I know a lot of people go through a lot of different losses, and Alien Loss says, I lost my father when I was 14 to cancer. He went from looking his age, 43, to looking like he was 70. Yeah, and it sucks. It sucks so bad. They gave his dad 6 months, and 6 months later he was gone. Unfortunately, being alive does not mean you're living. We should be allowed to choose before that becomes an issue. But I bet my top dollar every second of that he was proud to have you as a son. Yeah, it's like I said. I'm gonna explain that last day at some point, and it was a very positive experience that last day. That's all I'll say, and we'll wait until March comes around so I can kind of put out a little like memorial, to him. So yeah. Whew, that went fast. And I know a lot of us have gone through many different things and have experienced these things. And that's why it's like this topic is deep in talking about the euthanasia type thing. And that's why I do feel so strongly about, it should be, as far as like being diagnosed with something and them stating that like you're not going to survive from it, it should be something that's allowed. Now, if it's just someone who's like, I hate life and I want to go, no.
Once more,
that's a different story.
They need a different type of help and assistance, and there should be someone there for them on that. But that's the problem, is that we're often left out and stranded in our world. And especially in the United States, where getting that type of assistance costs money, and they want the money first.
Yeah.
Or they're going to trap you where they give you the service, and they're like, but now you owe us $600. And it's like, that's dark.
Right.
It's so hard to ask for these certain types of assistance when we live in a world that just fuels itself off of that. Oh my God.
Well, and then Surf and Mute Donkey were stating there, talking about the ambulance, like maybe going to the beach or something like that for them to pass or something. They're like, yeah, if you tack on an additional $5,000 to $10,000 on top of that, which is just absolutely stupid.
Well, it's like, I had a coworker. She got drugged by a friend. This is dark. And she ended up being fine. She wasn't robbed. The person didn't do anything to her. It was a girl, and for some reason she just did it and like left her in her car and disappeared. It was very bizarre. But then she had to get an ambulance ride, obviously. because she kind of came to mildly, but she's still half out, and she was able to contact and get an ambulance ride. She paid it. It took her months. It's like she didn't have a state to help herself, and she had to.
Right.
And yet they're still gonna attack a bill. I have a lot of feelings about stuff like that. But yeah, death is. And see, in the Native American culture, it was something where like death is a very celebrated thing. It's very beautiful. And a lot of other cultures, they take it where it is very beautiful. There's mourning, of course. And in different tribes, I'd say there's different processes of mournings and things that go on. But as an example, in Victorian era, women had to spend 2 to 3 years mourning their husband's death. And they had to do processes of wearing certain types of clothing to go through the process to show mourning before she ever even considered the idea of being with another man, because that was respectful.
Right.
And then you had other cultures where they literally they grab a feast of food, there's celebration, there's dancing, they would have fires, it would maybe last like 5 days, and then they would go on, they would do like a proper burning or burial or whatever they chose to do with the body, and they would get help. The community would come together, they would assist the family in how they needed to, and then the family would take on new tasks and they would be able to help themselves. It was a very coming together moment in a community that was prioritized together versus on the other side where someone's just left by themselves and you leave them to themselves.
Yeah.
And it's so sad because it's like, why can't we continue that?
Yeah.
Like, why can't we bring that back?
Because it's all about money and stuff, and
there's so much doom and gloom that comes with it.
Right. See, and anytime someone's passed away, for me, as far as like going to funerals and stuff, like my family has been the type where, you know, it sounds disrespectful, but I don't think it is, where we have fun at the funeral.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the thing is, you're there to celebrate that person's life and to honor what they brought. You know, if you're having fun there, it means that person brought you guys together so you can have fun. So, like, my dad was goofy, and he, you know, like, he used to always, like, he loved Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, and I got into them huge because my dad, you know, sang to them where I was like, wah, 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 like, songs, like, walk like a man, right?
Yeah.
And so it was always that high-pitched voice, and he always did that, and so, like, at the funeral, we were playing songs like that, and he would, like, joke around to, like, the twist, and so we were doing the twist and everything, and just having a goofy time, remembering his goofiness, and then us all being together, having fun because of him.
And that, to me, is a genuine honoring way about it. Like, I don't, like, cry and do what you need to do in your time, but, like, when you come together, lift each other up about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Pearlfish, exactly. Huge generalization warning. Euthanasia for I hate life can be treated under circumstances, but euthanasia for terminal, untreatable illness is completely different. You know, the average ambulance ride in America is 2020 is $1,075, and so far in 2021 it's $1,275. Jesus.
Yeah, I could go invest into something with that, but instead, if I was stuck in the situation, well, now I'm stuck with that bill, and I did not get a choice in that.
Right. Well, like I said, I got struck by lightning, and to go 10 miles down the road to the hospital cost, I think it was like $1,400. Luckily, I didn't have to pay for it, but still, that's ridiculous. And Alien X, I'm sorry. He goes, I don't like you anymore. This stream really touched the feels. But this is why I want to do streams, though. It's, you know, like, I want to have fun with them sometimes and joke around and goof around, but at the same time, I like when people can come together and we all see each other as human. Like, there was a time where, you know, Team Skeptic had a stream, and he was talking about something, and he started to, you know, choke up and get teary-eyed, and it just connected me to want to watch him that much more. And I'm not saying, oh, watch me that much more because of it, but we all go through things, and we all are part of things, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about mental health and the death issue tonight. Right. You know, and they're dark subjects, but if we all talk about it and are open and honest about it, we all help each other out, you know. And you know, if people see what Tony Regime posted early on in the stream as far as, places to call or whatnot, do so. Resources out there, or understanding that, we can all have a chat with each other. And I think it's just more so for people to watch and see, hey, you're not alone with a lot of stuff out there.
Right. A little exposure, putting yourself out there will show that other people may be more willing to also bring themselves to the table. And that's really important.
Yeah. Nathan Thompson says, I remember the dinner we had after my grandma's funeral. It was really nice, and being a small country town, it felt like everyone was there, everyone had a story. Exactly. And that's what I love.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to say, oh, I love funerals, but if
I'd rather someone say that.
Someone's going to pass away. It's life, right? You die.
People are dying.
I would rather see people coming together and telling stories and laughing and joking around rather than have it be this constant sob-fest. Yes, you're probably going to cry. Yes, you're probably going to have sad moments. But for me, it's like the overall thing should be the celebration, the telling the stories, the jokes, the things that maybe other people didn't know. I'm not saying like you're spilling the beans about someone, but
they better.
They might have a funny story that that person just didn't tell you, not because they didn't want you to know, but because it was just a part of an area in their life that not everyone knew about. And I think that's awesome to deal with.
Like, I want like a drag show at my funeral. I want it going on. I want like the big top, but I want it to be people just coming together and being stupid and telling the stupidness that was living for me.
And that's what Shade just says right now too. If people aren't laughing at my funeral, they shouldn't be there in the first place.
Yeah,
100%.
I'll be so pressed if someone decides to bring down. I will come back from the grave for that second and be like, you better stop that. We're trying to laugh here.
Right. Like, I would hope that I could find a way to troll my funeral. Like, if I knew I was going to die, I would hope that I could come up with something where I could troll my funeral.
Absolutely. I want someone to come in dressed like me and be like, what's going on today?
Right, or like
someone, did I miss the memo?
With my skydiving gear, like push a dummy out of an airplane or something like that. I don't know. Something that would be hilarious. Mute Donkey goes hooking up at funerals is a thing.
Yes, it is.
It is a thing.
Absolutely.
But if you go to a funeral in hopes to hook up, that's weird. The other thing that might be weird about hooking up at a funeral, a lot of family members. Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of family members are there, and maybe there's like a second cousin that you never met or something.
Yeah. What was it like? Cousin Lovin', having a blast. Cousin Lovin', it happened so fast.
Right.
Like Grease, except your cousin.
Yeah. He goes, I could help you with that as far as the troll my thing. And Glover Mom, welcome. She says, I miss my parents. Both my mom and dad's last years were lived without dignity. They had to have help with everything. Exactly. It's not fun. It sucks.
As a side note, quick to on the light side of it, I want someone at my funeral to stand up and say, they still owe me $5. And they want them to seek someone out, and the funeral be like, who's giving me the $5?
Yeah, I need
and then
the
$5.
They leave. Right.
I'm okay with that.
Oh,
also,
that could be a thing.
Not to light and derail, just that there's so much that I want to focus on with with the death that I'm concerned for watching people with it. And this is a little bit where on the mild side, when I was a kid, I had a couple different types of different cousins who passed, because in my family we have a long line of history of drugs and drug addiction on both sides of my family. And so people were just gone. But at the same time, living in the Native American culture of it, I had certain family members who wanted to really Christianize it, and if there's anything wrong with it, but it was not what that person wanted, but they would force it. And a lot of us in the Native side, we were just kind of confused by it, because we were like, this is making it so awful, because you were trying to make yourself feel better by thinking that this is how it has to be, and you're really disrespecting their body and their wish. You're really pushing against it. So in part of me, I want to be the hard opposite. You better come marching in disrespecting.
Right. Nathan Terpson goes, I'm going to have them play Rick's Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up at my funeral.
Yeah!
Alien X goes, hooking up with my dead body is cool. If you want to hook up at his funeral. And then Shane goes, allegedly people smoke Tupac's ashes, to which Alien says, nope, Tupac is alive.
Oh, I would love everyone coming to my funeral in like high camp fashion. Like, I want you to come in like wigs. I want big hats. I want big gowns, like the Met Gala, except don't get buying a designer's gown. Like, I want it to be just crazy.
Right. Glover Mom says funerals are for loved ones, not the person who passed away. Why not have fun and share stories about the loved... yep, exactly. It's who died. Celebrate life since we only have one. I was going to say, well, real quick, Pearlfish says, hooking up at funerals is a nightmare, especially when they realize you don't even have any connection to the departed, and you're not even supposed to be there. I came up with a way, maybe it's not necessarily a troll, but I came up with a way for my funeral, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, if you cremate me, so it's my ashes, right? So in skydiving, there's something called an ash dive. When, like I told you guys earlier that my one friend passed away last year once when all the restrictions went into place and in a helicopter crash. So what they did, ash dives usually. You have a bag of their ashes, and you know it's a skydive, right? And you have one person who's holding the bag of ashes, and then everyone jumps out, and then you have someone else come in, and what you do is you basically pull on the bag, and it's got like a seam or something for it to rip apart, and then it helps to spread the ashes during the skydive. Mm-hmm. So I could do essentially like an ash dive. But what it would be is someone would have to rig something up, and I'm sure someone could do it, right? You have like a mannequin or something and put my skydiving gear on it with my skydiving rig, throw it out of the airplane, and if they could figure out the math right, have it timed where it lands on the drop zone. So it's coming down, you see like this mannequin falling, coming down. Boom, it hits the ground. And then once it hits the ground, out of the rig, all of a sudden it goes poof, and it's just my ashes that puff out from like instead of the like as if the canopy didn't come out, you know, it did deploy, it just smacks the ground, and then like have it be like a 1 second delay or something, and all of a sudden it just goes poof, and it's just all my ashes that come out. Wah, wah. That would be what would happen or what I'd want.
I want. What? Rocky Horror Picture Show, when everyone's coming in to do the time warp. That's how I want people to dress. I want them to be all in sunglasses, weirdo costumes and outfits, and I want everyone to do a synchronized dance. And almost looking like they're coming for a selfie moment.
Which means I would probably have to be, like, if you were to pass before me, I'd probably have to be Frankenfurter.
Well, I gotta get busy then.
In the stockings or something. Oh my god. Alright, so what are we missing here? Hutaki says, well, that's when you leave Pearlfish and never give your real name, as far as like the showing up and you weren't supposed to be there. And he goes, I assume you mean the morning after. Elin goes, I'll come to your funeral dressed as the lady in Hunger Games. Oh my god, that would be fantastic.
That'd be funny.
I love that. May the odds be ever in your favor.
I want my family confused, but I also want them equally going, yeah, okay, this is what he would do.
Mute says, throw me in a shallow hole and spend the money you saved on a party.
My dad literally told me, like, my grandpa's have some complications and health issues right now. He's still alive and doing all right for the state he's in. Mm-hmm. But my parents got really into talking about the subject of what they would want done with, like, for their funerals and services and stuff like that. My dad literally continues to tell me, we have a friend who is a mortician as well. He lives down the street from us. Lovely guy. He's talked to him about this, which I guess he's, like, had the okay to do, but he's like, I want you to go 5 miles out of town, and I just want you to throw me in a ditch. Just put me naked, toss me in a ditch. He's like, I want the plants, the worms, and the animals to eat me. Don't do anything. Please.
You gotta notify all the police and everything so someone doesn't come up across his dead body and think that something happened.
Or my town could use a little excitement.
Yeah.
Go for it. And just send them on the verge.
Pearlfish has to find a pinata then. No, just the boom. And Mute Donkey goes, and confetti, so it'd be my ashes and confetti. If you could have like something that would come out and it'd just be like, bye bitches.
or like, you know, like that like the it's the fire paper that magicians use.
Oh yeah.
Just
gone. Glover Mom, yes, I want to hear some good news. Please tell me. And Pearlfish likes your Rocky Horror Picture Show funeral. That would be great.
Thank you.
Glover Mom, I know we're on a delay and I'm trying to catch up with reading some stuff, but go ahead and tell us the good news.
Spread the word.
I cut my hair on Sunday. So I know it's very random, and I was like looking at it, was like kind of sticking up weird. I cut short sides, but I kept the top a little bit long. I hope it looks okay.
He has an undercut.
Alien X goes, so this is what my father did. He had a very similar sense of humor, and we did this too. He wanted an M with a peephole, like a door peephole on it, so he could watch over us. Oh, an urn. I read that wrong. I thought it was EM. I was like an M. He wanted an urn with a peephole, like a door peephole, so he could watch over us. That's kind of cool.
Aww.
That's kind of a cool little thought.
That's cute.
This is camera trying to kind of. Bailey is getting antsy. We may have to end the stream at some point because Bailey's getting really antsy, and I think he wants to eat. He keeps going and playing with his food dish, and you're hacking. Yeah, that's awesome. How do you want to be buried, or do you want to be cremated?
Don't waste your time with burials, unless.
So you're saying you want to be cremated, or
I'm not done here. Interrupting. Or unless there's a way, which I guess cremation, because ashes can be used as fertilizers. Mm-hmm. I'd like to be fertilizer, and it doesn't have to be like the white rose bush that never gets cut. Throw me in the woods, even if it's for that season that those flowers get some fertilizer. I am okay with that. Because like I don't know, and to me it's like I'd rather see something come from it.
Yeah. Well, you could be one of those like tree things now that they say.
Well, and it better be like fruits that you give to the poor or something. But like to me, it's kind of like my dad always is like when this, because in my family's spiritual, we're more spiritual. I would say he says once the soul's gone, the body has no use. It's pointless. He's like, because you cared about the being that was the person that existed, not even the physical shape that it was in. You just cared about who that being was.
Right.
And so he was like, why hold on to it and dress it up and everything?
Right.
Cremate, make me into fertilizer.
Well, you don't have to cremate with the ashes. What you could ask is just put your body in like a big blender, and then that way it's like a pulp, and then just take all that muscly, bloody bone pulp and throw it in a field. And that would be better fertilizer than ash.
So in like my ninja, my bullet blender?
Yes. Well, we'll do little pieces at a time. And then, so Glover Mom goes that the good news was that Daniel Pratt had his channel deleted by YouTube. So now, funny. I created a video making fun of Daniel Pratt that comes out tomorrow, and I was hoping to kind of keep picking on him by using that character that I'm using for tomorrow. But I know there's plenty of flat earthers who are disgusting people as far as homophobic and all that. So I can still find other people to pick on. Mute Donkey had a good idea too. With the mannequin that gets thrown out, we could have an audio file or something, a speaker on it. So it's just going, ah, the whole way down or something like that.
Dude,
I would just be like, see you later, bitches!
At my service, maybe like have like my audio recording me periodically in case it gets like too sad where it's me insulting someone.
Right, that'd be kind of funny.
Or calling out someone.
It could also have the speaker where it goes, ah, and then it would have like a trigger on it, so when it hit the ground, it would go, that hurt! Poof, confetti and ashes.
Or Tina from Bob's Burgers. I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. That would be great.
That's awesome.
Glover Mom goes, yep, his Reshaping Our World channel backup channel is still up, but his Daniel Pratt channel is gone again. That he'll have another one. He always makes another one the very next day or something. I wonder what made it finally get taken down.
Him being an awful person.
2 cinder blocks attached to my heel, and toss my body in Lake Superior.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, be fish food.
Yeah,
feed the fish.
Catch
Nothing wrong with that.
Have the salmon.
I like the thought that we all die twice. First death is a body. Second death is when the last person forgets us. Yeah.
Aww.
That's the other thing too, is the memories. That's why, like, taking photos is nice and stuff like that. But I'm gonna tell you this one thing. I dated a guy, and we'd go do something. I dated 2 guys who were like this. You go out and you do something, hiking on a trail, whatnot. Constantly out with the phone, taking pictures, posing for selfies, blah, blah, blah. It was almost like it was more important for them to have to get the peace selfie than it was to be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, being in the moment, to me, is way stronger than any picture you could ever take. And so if you can have those memories passed down by other people, or if you're with a group of 10 people and you're all just laughing and bullshitting and not worried about trying to get that perfect selfie picture to post online, like, yeah, you got the picture for a memory, but if people go back, yeah, I remember that day he was just on his phone the whole time. What good is that?
Honestly.
Versus, I remember that day, I remember a day when we were on the boat and we were bullshitting so hard, and then someone got pushed in the water and we were all laughing, we all jumped in and stuff like that. Having a good story to go with it is so much better than being like, yeah, we just got a bunch of pictures that day.
Well, and thinking on the side, so when you die, there's a service, I think, where you can get your tattoos. Like, you get your skin cut out from the tattoo area and get it, immortalized. Like, you get framed.
Ooh.
What'd you do?
I would not want my skin, peeled off and that would be so disgusting. I would be so mad if someone, cut my tattoos off and had my skin, dried out and hanging as a picture somewhere.
I knew you'd have that reaction.
What kind of disturbed person are you?
I knew you'd have that reaction. I just wanted to know.
Dougie, do you need to be dead before we toss you out of the plane for that thing? Preferably, because, like I said, I would want it to be my ashes that poof out, not my body.
Wow, picky. I'm kidding.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to go pee, so you might have to entertain people. Either that, or we might start to call it a night soon.
We have so much.
I don't know. Do we want to keep going? We've been live for almost 2.5 hours.
That's a pretty good length.
Yeah, so we might cut it short soon. Bailey is getting super antsy. He wants to eat. It's almost 9:00, and normally he eats around 8:30.
Yeah, he might kill someone here.
Food dish around constantly.
Also, you didn't laugh at my joke about me saying that you and I had so much in common because we both had to pee. I'm just saying.
How's that really a joke?
And it's funny.
Now, some people might know what that's from, and other people have to find out what that's from. Maybe I could quick throw in, a quick, 10 seconds of what my video's like tomorrow. If you guys are okay with me putzing around on the computer looking all weird at it. Let's see real quick. I'm just imagining Pratt as that bit on Little Nicky when he turns into the spiders. I'm there with you 100%. I'd rather make imperfect memories than a bunch of lifeless pictures. 100%. The last video on his main channel had a BLM title in it. And she didn't get a chance to see it or download it, but I'm sure that it was it. It was probably the Black Lives Matter one. Turn my skin into Necronomicon. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is?
Sounds like something from D&D.
Human taxidermy, gross. See, that just... let's see. Bailey, I know, the poor guy is so hungry. So I'm going to have to dink around a little bit. Let's figure out how to. I'm sorry, guys. Oops, and it's not that one either. We are here. Poop! Obviously, I can't go into my folder or into that scene while I'm streaming. So I can't play a little snippet for them.
I guess they'll just have to sit and suffer.
Yeah. Actually, if I were to go into studio mode, I could. But I don't know if I can go into studio mode while I'm streaming. Can I? Can I go into studio mode while I'm streaming?
I don't know.
I forget where studio mode even is. Oh, right here. So let me go studio mode. Ooh, okay. I might be able to do this. Give me a second. How the hell? Where did Popeye's chicken come in? What did I miss? That laugh will haunt my dreams, says Little Wolf. He knows what it is. Okay, so give me a second. We're gonna go here. I want to add. I know, Bailey. I know. Media source. I need this. Alright, guys, give me a second. I'm going to. I gotta do some things because I want to. I'll try to play a little snippet of tomorrow's video so you guys get an idea, and I hope that you guys like it because Chase put in a lot of work for it, and I put in my humor for it. And I think
put in a lot of work. Shut up.
You put in a lot of work for it.
I didn't do anything normal that I wouldn't do myself.
So here, do that, and go. Okay, let's do this. And... Alright, give me a second, guys. I'm figuring this out. I'm not good. I'm not good at OBS yet. All right.
Oh, that's BS. Get it?
Oh my god. Oh, it's a book of spells from Evil Dead movie. Is what Necronomicon is.
Oh,
I know I've heard of it. I just yeah. All right. So you guys, do you want a quick, tiny little snippet of tomorrow's video? I hope so. I'm glad someone caught it. Haha, he brought up little Mickey. Oh yeah, okay. Quick. Here we go. We're gonna do just I think it'll play a quick little snippet.
Wingwan, is this thing on? I can't tell. Hello? Hello, everybody. So my sister, Cookie McSweet Tits, asked me if I would help her out with the video. Now mine...
Alright, that's all you get. That's all you get from it. That's all you're gonna get. I hope the audio went through. That's all you're gonna get. You're gonna have to come tomorrow to watch it. Giggity. Sorry. I watched Little Wolf's little video that he put out, and there was a lot of giggity moments in there. And we were sitting here, and I can't remember what part you said something, and I looked at Chase and I go, giggity, and like not even a second later on your video then you said giggity. And yeah. So did that show up? Did the audio go through for you guys? And what do you think that's going to be tomorrow's little clip? So I think we'll probably end everything here because I gotta pee, he's gotta pee, Bailey's gotta eat, he's super antsy, Noki's just kind of laying here like all sad and depressed looking. It's an odd requirement. What did I say to have to watch? I don't know. It's an odd requirement. It's getting to the point where it's too late. You guys, thank you all very much for coming today. Thanks for participating in the topic. I know some of the things were a bit weird and a bit dark, but I think they're things that need to be talked about. And Probably not talked about enough as far as like the mental health stuff. You know, like I've said before, my door is always open. There's sometimes I don't respond back, and it's not that I'm trying to avoid anyone, while also I'm trying to avoid people, because like I said, I go through my bouts too, where sometimes I feel super social, and other times like I'm like overwhelmed and I need to be left alone, and I'm like getting to that shy state again, or I'm going through a rough time myself where I kind of like avoid the world. But you know, this community clearly has shown that we can all reach out to each other and that we can all talk if need be, and it's absolutely amazing. And if there's other people who aren't a part of the community that I'm talking about, as far as like flat earth debunking or just other random stuff, you know, if you're part of the skydiving community who's here, any of my Facebook friends who are here that I shared the link with, you know, reach out to people. If you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling down, if you're going through hard times, reach out to people. You know, if it's a money thing, you know, I tell people I try to help out where I can. You know, I might not be able to help out financially sometimes, but I might be able to give you a ride somewhere if you live near me and I give you a ride somewhere. Or if you need advice as far as help on, you know, figuring certain stuff out, whether it be on computers or whether it be paperwork or something like that. If I can help in a way, I try to. And Chase, I think, would be the same way. You know, with that said, thanks guys for everything. Thanks for dealing with my little emotional moment. We've all been there. We've all gone through that. So I'm actually kind of glad we got to all kind of share in that moment, actually. Yeah. So, thank you guys very much. You all have a good night. And I'm going to use my cool little board thing that I brought up earlier, and we'll put the outro. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.